Greetings, everyone. This is the Gardening Snail from Livingston, California, just trying to keep the community informed and local government as honest as possible. There is a reason I'm calling it an eternal contract for Vanessa Portillo. It has to do with the actual language written into the contract itself. We'll get into that a little later on. Before we start, I want to point out something I've noticed. It seems that the City Council has changed some of its tactics when it comes to closed session versus open session. And now it looks like when there are important issues on the closed session, they are broken out into a separate special meeting. In this case, not only is there the public employment title city manager discussion, there is also a liability claim for damage by Jose Ramirez, the prior city manager. In the past, the backup documentation for a liability claim for damages was included as part of the agenda packet. In this case, it was not. In a previous video, I talked about an up to $250,000 for a 6-month contract with the Merced County Sheriff's Department. How it was signed by our current interim city manager, virtually in secret, without it showing up on a city council meeting agenda first, and having it ratified first by the city council. In the past, city council members would have had a major conniption fit if they thought a city manager was even thinking about signing a contract for over $10,000 without running it by them first. Well, it's beginning to look like some members of the council may have been embarrassed about the way this contract came to the attention of the public, and have decided that going through the motions of putting it on an agenda after the ink was already dry wasn't such a bad idea after all. More on that and a few other things as we go through the agenda packet for December 21st, 2021 City Council Meeting Agenda. City Council regular meeting will open at 7 p.m. You can participate via teleconference by calling 520-525-8911. This is a toll call and you may be charged based on the phone plan that you have. Additionally, the meeting will be streamed live on YouTube. If you attend in person, you will need to wear a face covering. Public comments can be submitted via email at citycouncil@livingstoncity.com. Comments must be received by 2 p.m. on the day of the council meeting. You will need to provide meeting date, item number, name, email, and comment. Please limit to 300 words or 3 minutes and include public comment in the subject for the email. Public comments about items not otherwise on the agenda are limited to 3 minutes, usually. After announcements and reports, you will probably notice what's missing. There will be the consent agenda, including a check warrant and an approval of a contract to conduct an executive recruitment service for a police chief and public services director, memorandum of understanding between the City of Livingston and the Public Works and Parks Employees Unit, which includes 2 brand new paragraphs about how to handle employee discipline, and the declaration of certain property as surplus. Discussion and potential action items include the contract between Merced County and the City of Livingston for interim police chief services, which was already signed a few weeks ago, the agreement with Vanessa Portillo for permanent city manager services, and a discussion and direction on skate park. The reason for the contract for recruiting services is because staff has encountered difficulties conducting the recruitment for its vacant public services director position. The job was posted in local newspapers as well as governmental job websites for over a month without much success. Staff has requested a proposal from CPS HR Consulting to conduct the recruitments for public services director and chief of police. CPS HR Services would identify and contact potential candidates, do resume review and screening interviews, and allow the city manager to select finalists. Which begs the question, as far as the police chief recruitment is concerned, will there still be a technical review panel made up of members of law enforcement, or will that be eliminated? And would there still be an interview panel made up of members of the community, or will that be eliminated as well? They expect to have this all wrapped up in about 10 to 12 weeks and charge up to $38,000 depending how much the city decides to have them involved. Changes to the Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Livingston and the Public Works and Parks Employees Unit include a cost of living increase of 3% and a stipend totaling $6,000, plus 2 new paragraphs about written disciplinary actions. The first states disciplinary actions more than 12 months old which were made part of the employee's personnel file and for reasons that are non-related to any further disciplinary action shall not be considered in such disciplinary action regarding the employee. The second is written reprimands and disciplinary documents with 3-day suspension or less and verbal written counseling memos shall be removed from an employee's personnel file after 12 months as long as there has been no new related disciplinary actions. Moving on to surplus property, staff recommends council approve the fire equipment be transferred to the Livingston High School Fire Training Program. All other equipment will be disposed of according to the city's surplus property ordinance, although they don't spell out the details here. On the staff report between the Merced County and City of Livingston for Interim Chief of Police Services, you can see that the contract services started on November 22nd, 2021. The total contract amount with Merced County is not to exceed $250,000 through the contract term, and you can see the signature page and note when it was signed. Before we get into some of the details about the resolution approving entering into an agreement with Vanessa Portillo for permanent city manager services, let's take a quick trip back to December 3rd, 2019. A meeting I couldn't find on the city's list, but that I just happened to have on my own digital stack of stuff. Vanessa Portillo was originally employed as a result of a third recruitment that was conducted in early September 2019 for the position of finance director, which eliminated the duties of the assistant city manager. The annual base salary was $129,612. Flash forward to July 2021, when she was suddenly appointed interim city manager, she received a pay increase of over $35,000. Jumping forward about 5 months later, this city manager's contract will add an additional $19,620 worth of salary increase, resulting in $55,000 worth of salary increases in less than 6 months. The contract also includes 7 months total notice of any intention to terminate the contract, as well as 6 months severance pay. That's because the municipal code requires at least 30 days notice before the effective date of removal. If you take the 1 month advance notice required by the municipal code and add that to the additional 6 months notice in the contract, you end up with 7 months advance notice. In my humble opinion, it's clear to me that some members of the City Council are trying to prevent what they did to the prior city manager from happening to this one. Photo credits. Any views or opinions I express on these videos are my own and do not represent the views or opinions of the City Council or City of Livingston. Unless, of course, I am using direct quotes or video from City Council or other public meetings, then it's pretty obvious whose opinion is whose. Copies of source documentation available upon request.